Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Pop Culture Piggies because we are so fucking back.
We're back, baby. We're
We are
fucking
back.
back, baby. Holy shit, dude.
Football is here. We have 2 days until the season starts. Fantasy is well underway. Season predictions are coming right now. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Caleb, to talk about all things football. Caleb, how are you feeling? How was your summer? What's going on?
Man, I'll be honest. I was feeling a little bit down, and then I realized football's fucking back, baby. Let's go. I'm so excited. It's so crazy how my life revolves around football. I was telling a buddy, in the summertime, I go out a lot. I go out quite a bit. But when football comes around, from Thursday to Monday, do not talk to me. From Thursday nights, Thursday night football, Friday, Saturday, college football, Sunday, NFL, Monday, NFL, and that's it. I get 2 days rest. My weekends are Tuesdays and Wednesdays from this point on. No question about it. For the college football fans, I'm not a Carolina fan, by the way. I'm not a UNC fan. I'm actually a Michigan Wolverines fan, but I love their basketball team, so that's why I have that, so don't be fooled. But it is going to be a season for the books. I think there's going to be a lot of surprises. And I think there's going to be a lot of things that we all kind of see and we're like, okay, like that makes complete and total sense. But, Matt, I think you brought it up great, or not great, but the best way possible, which is you and I love kind of the gossip. We love the drama. And I don't think there is a sport out there filled with more drama than football. Can you name me one? I don't think there is.
Well, football's like the only sport where it's 365 days. I mean, it's like when you're not in football season, you're waiting for football season and you're talking about football. I mean, we just saw everything with Micah Parsons that's been going on for a few months, which we'll definitely talk about when we talk about the Cowboys. But it is just like the best reality show on earth. And anyone that follows this channel, I've been talking a lot about reality TV over the summer while football's been off. And this is truly the best of both worlds for someone like me, because it is something that you're really following real people like reality TV. But then you have the added benefit of 5-6 months of just the best game ever. So you're just always on the edge of your seats. And I don't think any other sport does that. It's like the other sports you can enjoy while it's happening. But when the baseball season ends or when NBA free agency ends, like I don't think about those sports until they come back 6 months later.
I would have to agree with you on that one. Once it's done, well, I like watching the drafts of of the major sports. I mean, I love them all, but I understand what you mean. Like for me, all of those sports, just for me personally, take a backseat to football. Football to me is just the greatest. Oh gosh, I don't even know where to begin. And it's funny because I didn't grow up with like a traditional background. I did not grow up with like watching football. I got into football later in life. But once I got into football, like Taylor Swift, I became a big fan, and now I'm just obsessed. And obviously, if the Chiefs do win the Super Bowl this year, which we'll talk about, I mean, which ring is going to be more important to Travis, the wedding ring or, you know, that other ring? We'll have to see.
Well, I mean, one of the rings will be worth a hell of a lot more. So
Yeah, one of them is worth 500,000. The other one's not as expensive, but still, it's super exciting. As I said, I think for both of us, because our two teams are in the same division, especially, it's always made for fun banter and fun times. I mean, um, but that being said, both of our teams are kind of going through very interesting changes. We have two new head coaches. We have a lot of new faces in the buildings for both teams. And we still have the boogeyman of our division who's healthy as ever, married now, ready to kind of take his team, hopefully, to the promised land. And then there's Miami, which we'll get to as well, who I think is going to be on the downward spiral moving forward. But that's another story for another day.
Yeah,
I
and
did want to.
for what it's worth, our teams are I'm a Patriots fan, Caleb's a Jets fan. So Caleb's referring to obviously the Bills that have really been dominating the division over the last few seasons, really since Brady left and Josh Allen ascended. And that is the first division we'll talk about here. So we're going to kick off our division right off the bat. And what we'll kind of do today is go through division by division, just kind of like quick thoughts per team. We're going to give a record prediction. I'm going to track it on this sheet that you can all see here. And then we'll track these things throughout the season. And Caleb and I will kind of hop on hopefully once a week if you're up for it.
Yeah,
And
100%. And
we
kind
can
of discuss.
yeah, refer to these. We could talk about the week that just happened. Maybe we'll do more like game predictions as the season goes on. But this one is just a big picture. Like, what are our predictions for the season? So why don't we start off alphabetically? You mentioned Buffalo. How are you feeling about Buffalo this year? Kind of high level, and then we can do a record prediction after we talk it out.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo high level for me, look, they're the team in the AFC East. There's no two ways about it. I do love funny enough, what the Patriots did this offseason. I think the Patriots added a lot of firepower. But, first year head coach, different system, second year quarterback. I haven't seen enough from Drake May yet to be like, okay, the Patriots are back to being the Patriots. And the Jets are in complete rebuild. And I think we're about a year to 2 years away from seeing what I would call the finished Aaron Glenn product. And Miami has kind of been what I would call the Bills, I don't want to say kryptonite, but their kind of main competition in the Josh Allen era, right? It's been Miami. It hasn't really been New England and the Jets. So I would say that the Bills are definitely, in my opinion, going to win the AFC East, as painful as that is to say. I actually went to Buffalo for my first time this summer. Great city, great food. But, obviously hate their football team. And I will also say that regardless of whatever, I think from the standpoint of the Bills, the question that is going to get asked more so this year than any year is, okay, if the Bills don't win the Super Bowl, or at least get to the Super Bowl, do you clean house? Do you say, hey, you know what? We have this young quarterback. He's the MVP. He was the MVP last year. Our defense isn't really getting any better because I don't believe they have. I know they added in Bosa, but I think Bosa is the equivalency of like a Von Miller. He's just a kind of like a veteran guy who's going to make a difference here and there, sure. I'm surprised they didn't trade for Micah. That's just me, because if you trade for Micah, then you're the Super Bowl favorite. But I digress.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'll let you take the floor. Yeah, on that one.
Buffalo's a weird one for Micah because you would think if Buffalo was involved in the discussions, Dallas would have preferred to send him to the AFC. So it leads me to believe that Buffalo or the other AFC teams weren't like super serious about paying Micah. I'm sure Buffalo would have gladly given up 2 first-round picks, but I get the sense that teams like Buffalo, Baltimore, that are like one piece away potentially, were not willing to pay $47 million, which is what led him to Green Bay. For me on Buffalo, we're going to get the same kind of Buffalo that we've got in the last few years. In the regular season, they're going to be dominant. Like Josh Allen's going to be incredible. They should handily win the division, like you said. But yeah, I agree. It's like, if they don't do it this year, if they can't take that final step, there eventually needs to be a fall guy. And obviously it's never going to be Josh Allen. So is it going to be a matter of win this year or McDermott is fired? I think that's something to keep an eye on. Honestly, I thought McDermott was potentially going to be on the hot seat even after last season.
I thought so too, by the way.
I wouldn't say I was shocked he wasn't fired, but I was maybe mildly surprised that it wasn't even a conversation, it seemed. I we'll get to our AFC title and Super Bowl picks at the end. I definitely am not ruling Buffalo out. I think Bosa will help more with run defense, which is helpful, especially in the playoffs. But I'm curious to see if they have enough defensive firepower. I think getting Milano back, who's been injured the last couple of years, could be helpful. They just re-signed Micah Hyde, they just re-signed Jordan Poyer, who's up there in age. He's not the same player, but that could help. They re-signed Gabe Davis the other day. So they're bringing back some of these like older players that there is team chemistry and leadership, which is helpful. I think for me, Buffalo, my official prediction for record, and then I'll let you do record. I'm going to say Buffalo, again, more or less the same. I say they go 12-5 and win the division.
Yeah, it's funny you said I was going to say the exact same thing, 12-5 at best. I don't see them winning any more games than that. That's just me. And you know what? Like, listen, out of all the teams in the AFC East, listen, I hate the Bills. But I just feel sorry for the Bills because they've just never, yes, I wasn't alive in during Super Bowl III or the Dolphins Super Bowl wins, but at least they tasted something. The Bills, they've just never had, like Buffalo, the city of Buffalo has just never had anything. So, I mean, yes, it would devastate me if they won, but, best of luck to them. And I do think Josh Allen is the man. It pains me to say it. We took Darnold instead of Allen, and I think that that will always haunt me, but, that's just how the game goes, I guess. But I agree with 12-5.
One other thing that you said that I kind of disagree with, oddly, is I, for some reason, don't hate Buffalo, even though like I'm a Pats fan. We play them twice a year. They've had our number the last few years. Like last playoffs when Buffalo was playing Kansas City, I found myself rooting for Buffalo, and I was like kind of upset when they lost. So as much as I want to hate them, there are just other teams that I hate a lot more. And I kind of want to see them win, which is weird coming from a divisional rival. But that's that on Buffalo. I know you touched on Miami a little bit. How are you feeling about Miami, who I think is in a pretty interesting spot this year? Another coach I think is definitely on the hot seat.
McDaniel's on the hot seat big time. And you can just kind of tell that, right? I mean, look, as much as I love Mike McDaniel, I think he's a great offensive coordinator. I am of the belief that there are some people who are built to be coordinators and some people who are built to be head coaches. And no disrespect to McDaniel. Listen, he's done a great job with a lot of things. I think the biggest mistake Miami made was when they fired Flores. Now, I understand Tua didn't like him and they didn't get along, but to me, Brian Flores was the man. Looking back at it now, I get it, but I would have to say that McDaniel, to me, is on the hot seat more so than any coach in the AFC East. Now, in terms of kind of what they've done in the offseason, I know they had a trade, obviously, where they traded, Jalen Ramsey and, they got back Minkah Fitzpatrick. That was a big one. Do I think that's a massive trade that's going to change the entire defense? No. Do I think that offensively they got better? Not really. Do I think that they're flashy offensively? Sure. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't hate Miami. Miami is the one team in the AFC East where I don't hate them. I don't like them, but I don't hate them. It's just I don't believe in Tua. And the question is that if Miami has a really bad season for whatever reason, Miami's paid Tua a lot of money. Tua is like a big-time quarterback contract there. Tua just kind of reminds me, obviously they played differently, but he just reminds me of Daniel Jones. And I don't know what it is, but he's just like, he's not the guy. As much as I like Tua, as a guy, to me, I just don't think he's the answer in Miami. And I say at best, and this is going to be controversial, but I think that they finish at 6-11.
Yeah, I am kind of on a similar mindset with Miami. I just think this is a disaster waiting to happen. I think coach on the hot seats, like so much uncertainty around Tua. There's like some quarterbacks in the league, they get older and they don't want to get hit anymore. Tua's a different story because he physically can't get hit. If he gets hits, like his career is over, and he is basically just relegated to being a pocket passer now. He doesn't want to move up in the pocket. He won't run. He can throw. Like, he's a good quick passer, but for me, like the two biggest issues for them are one of their most explosive players, Achane, is nursing a calf injury. You never want to hear calf injuries with explosive runners.
No.
It can often lead to torn Achilles, which God forbid, but that's a fear there.
It happens.
Yeah, or he re-aggravates it. He's out 6 weeks. The other big problem for me is Tyreek Hill is going to be a problem for them. He clearly doesn't want to be there. His head is like mush right now. I think there will get to a point where they're struggling and Tyreek Hill will potentially just quit on the team. So yeah, I'm definitely in a similar ballpark. I wouldn't be shocked if Miami was picking top 5 in the draft next year. And I think Mike McDaniel will be the first coach fired this season. I'm going to go a little bit lower even. I'm going to say Miami goes 5-12. So just one game lower, but I'm really low on Miami. But we're getting to our teams now. I guess I'll start off with New England.
Please do.
I probably have a lot more.
It makes me sick to my stomach talking about this team. Makes me sick to my stomach. Honestly, I hate this team, man. I hate them. Anyways, I listen. Robert Kraft, respect. Tom Brady, Jules. Like, listen, I respect the Patriots dynasty. I get it, but God, I hate that team. Anyways, go on.
Yeah. So I think New England is in a good place right now. Mostly, they obviously have a massive upgrade at their head coach. They're bringing in like an actual leader of men. Gerard Mayo was just like a fish out of water last year. So that alone is going to bump them up a few games. The talent around Drake May is a lot better. They really focused on offense in the draft, improved the O-line, where last season their O-line was arguably the worst in the league. Now it's like kind of like that 20 range, which is a massive improvement when you're going from 32 to 20. They added a really promising running back, Trevion Henderson, Kyle Williams, Stephon Diggs. So there is talent there. It's nothing special, but if Drake May can take a step forward and then the talent around is just middle of the pack, I think that's enough where they can hover around 500. Their defense is really solid. It was last year. It's honestly, their defense hasn't been horrible in years. So that has not been the issue. Now, they did make a few questionable decisions. They just recently they recently cut their starting safety, Jabril Peppers, which was odd.
Surprised me.
Yeah, that kind of came out of nowhere because he was projected to be a starter. They benched their other safety, Kyle Duggar, who's now going to be on the second team. Keon White has also been moved to the second team. So it seems like Vrabel wants his guys. Like, he is like set in stone on like his system, his guys. You have to kind of like prove yourself to Vrabel. So I like his mindset. I think they will definitely take a step up. I think they'll be competitive. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if they squeaked into that last playoff spot, but I'm going to say they end up going a little bit short. Their schedule is very easy as well. But I'm going to say New England finishes 8-9, but they are an exciting, competitive 8-9.
I mean, I have them at, funny enough, I actually have the same record for the Patriots as well. A lot of people don't know this, but the Patriots did what they always do to the Jets, which is they take something that we want and then they take it away from us. We were supposed to get Vrabel. He was supposed to be a Jet. just like Belichick. And then just like Belichick, Vrabel was like, nope, I'm going to go to the Patriots, which has just reignited my hatred for that team and that organization once again. But I do like Vrabel. And I think there's going to be things I'm intrigued about the Patriots. For one, we know that Vrabel loves to run the ball. Typically speaking, he likes to call running plays. He likes power backs. And I'm looking at, obviously, his time in Tennessee. He had Derrick Henry. So I'm intrigued to see how he shifts the offense around what he has right now. The question mark that I have about the Patriots is a wide receiver by the name of Stephon Diggs. And what I mean by that is, what kind of Stephon Diggs are we getting here? Are we getting diva Stephon Diggs who's causing problems? Is he going to be someone who comes in and has like that make or break year, like his first 2 years in Buffalo before he kind of, started to show signs of like, hey, I'm this kind of personality type? What are we going to see here? I'm intrigued. I think that obviously when healthy and when he's there and he's ready to go, Stephon's an exceptionally talented wide receiver. There's no taking that away from him. But I just don't know what we're going to get. And he's one of those guys that can be a locker room cancer. And for someone like Drake May, who's trying to take a step forward, when you have a wide receiver with a really strong personality, who's pushing you and trying to kind of get what he wants out of you, he's either going to make or break. We shall see. I do like some of the pieces you added to your defense. The Jabril Peppers thing I didn't understand, I'll be honest with you. But Vrabel has his system in place. He has what he's trying to do. And let's see if he returns them to the Patriot way. I mean, no one knows the Patriot way like Mike Vrabel. I mean, he's one of the originators. One of the originators of the Patriot way. So he knows kind of what it takes. He's won Super Bowls. He's been a great coach for Tennessee. Let's see what he can do, and let's see how he progresses, Drake May.
Yeah, I think their situational football will be a lot better. I forgot to mention, they also brought back Josh McDaniels, which as a coordinator is a huge improvement. He's going to be really helpful for Drake May. He also is really good with getting running backs involved in the passing game, which I think is why people are so high on TreVeyon Henderson, where he can kind of be like a James White on steroids in a way, where he's a little bit bigger, a little bit faster. And like White was this very steady presence, but I think he can do a lot more fun things with someone like TreVeyon Henderson if he stays healthy, if he hits. So I'm excited about the coaching. I think situationally they'll be a lot better. And I think, it all at the end of the day hinges on Drake May just taking that next step. And he's certainly capable, but let's move on to your Jets. I'll let you kick it off there.
Thank you. Finally, something to smile about. Okay, so the Jets. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, there's a lot of things I love what the Jets did, a lot of things I don't like. Obviously, the Jets recently released Malachi Corley, who I think is just the definition of like another Denzel Mims, typical Jets receiver. We can never get a solid number two. We're good at getting number ones. We've only ever had a solid number two with Eric Decker. But, I mean, we're going back there and obviously Winkerbet, but that's irrelevant for today. This is a team that is very interesting to me. New coach. I love how AG's come off so far. Very fiery, dictator type of coach. Grit and grind. He'll tell you if you play like shit. He's, to me, someone who can potentially have a Dan Campbell effect where it's like he leads a group of men and people want to play for this guy. Now, in terms of our defense, I mean, Sauce just got a big contract. I like that we bought in Andre Sisco from the Jags. I like that we have both Williams brothers still. That makes me very happy to see. And we obviously added Harrison Phillips, and we've added some DTs and stuff like that, and the free agency market and trades and stuff like that. So that's awesome to see. Offensively is where obviously the Jets are going to be the most interesting. This is going to be a very run-heavy football team right off the bat. It's going to be Breece Hall, Braylon Allen running 50 times a game each, pretty much. It's going to be Breece trying to pick up as many yards as possible and then Braylon on the goal line. We all know this. Garrett is being moved to a slot receiver role, so he's not going to be so much on the outside. And then we have Fields who's trying to kind of prove it, right? Our O-line is getting better every year, but we've drafted a lot of O-line and they haven't worked out. I'm hoping ABT stays healthy. I'm excited to see what Olu can do. Armand Membu is exciting as hell for a rookie. I think he's going to be a very good, run blocker and stuff like that moving forward. And I also really like the addition of Mason Taylor, tight end. Now, naturally, first year head coach, we have a first year offensive coordinator in Tanner Engstrom. Do I think that the Jets are going to blow people away? No. I see the Jets picking within the top 10, 100%. That being said, I am going with a prediction right now that I said that the Dolphins are going to be 6-11. I think that the Jets are going to probably be. I feel like we're going to be better than the Dolphins. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to go 7-10.
7-10.
I think they're going to go 7-10. It's going to be an improvement. I think the first half is going to be sloppy. We're going to have a lot of hard time.
Yeah.
But I think that as the team continues to build and build and build, what the Jets are trying to do this year is be that bad team that no one wants to play. That's what the Jets need to be this year.
Yeah. For me, my worries with the Jets are Rodgers was not great last year, obviously. Like, they haven't had a quarterback really in a while. I'm not a Fields guy. Like, I'm really not. Like, I think he is a good, powerful runner. But the problem with Fields is he doesn't throw to the inside of the field. Like, he's an outside thrower. And like, even there, he's shaky. And yeah, they want to move Wilson to the slot. Like, they drafted a promising tight end in the second round, Taylor. Mm-hmm. And you would think slots and tight end, like, the best way to utilize them is going to be the middle of the field. But that is kind of where Fields struggles. So I think, and I worry that they're going to try to see if Fields can be something he's not. Mm-hmm. And I also think with Fields, like, he gets in his own way a little bit. Like, I don't trust him to even stay healthy. I actually have Fields in fantasy. I think he's a better fantasy quarterback than a real life quarterback. So I am not super high on the Jets, unfortunately.
Typical Patriots hater. Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if they were one of the worst teams in the league, unfortunately. I think they're going to be below Miami. I'm putting the Jets at 4-13. I'm sorry, but
Arch Manning.
I don't know if they even want him anymore, but I guess that's the AFC East. Let's move on to the AFC North. I'll kick things off with Baltimore. Baltimore is coming in, obviously, off another great season. They're pretty consistently great. Lamar is just on an absolute heater the last few years. I think their defense is always solid. They always draft well. I think Baltimore, again, is not a team to be slept on. I like Baltimore to win the division again. And honestly, I think fairly easily. I actually have Baltimore as the number 1 seed in the AFC, and I have them going 13-4, even in a tough division. I really like Baltimore.
I like Baltimore. I do too. I think that their defense naturally is always going to be exceptional, right? They are like, that's their bread and butter. I know Lamar's brought in some excitement there. I think that Zay Flowers is going to have another great season, and he's going to move himself up into that echelon. I, however, do not believe they're going to win the division. I am going to say that best case scenario, I would say the Ravens are an 11-6 team.
11-6. Okay. So you have them taking a bit of a step down this season.
Yes, but that's only because I believe the Cincinnati Bengals are not only going to be the best team in that division, but they're going to be the best team in the AFC. So I think Cincinnati is going to win that division, obviously going, 12-5. And I think that's just my opinion. naturally.
So what is it about Cincy? Because I think when you look at Cincy, obviously we know high-powered offense, like one of the best quarterbacks, probably the best pocket passing quarterback in the league, insane weapons. I really like Chase Brown. I think offensively, obviously no concerns, but defensively, it doesn't appear on paper like they've done much to improve. Are you optimistic that their defense will improve, or do you think their offense will just be so good that it's going to be hard to beat them?
I'm going to go with the latter on that one. I just think that Joe Burrow, they decided to play in the preseason because they always start kind of cold.
Mhm.
I think that they decided to start in the preseason this year and play actual snaps to start off hot, build that rhythm, build that stuff. I think that Joe Burrow is going to kind of come in and show everyone, hey, this is why I am who I am. And hopefully, fingers crossed, it plays out. But I just think it's their time.
Yeah.
I think that, and I don't want to talk about Super Bowl picks yet, but you know, we'll come back to them in that sense. But I just think that they're going to win it this year. I think Joe Burrow's going to just have one of those seasons, pending injuries. Of course, these things can happen to all of us, but I just believe in Cincinnati. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, I believe in them to an extent. Like I have them going 10-7 in a wild card team, so I definitely think they'll be better than last year. I mean, last year was just a colossally bad defense, and you have to think even with like a few additions. I mean, they drafted a guy first round, Shamar Stewart, who finally signed after quite a holdout, but you have to think they'll be a little bit better. So I am a bit higher on them than last year. I think they're still going to have to be really heavily carried by their offense, and I do think they'll make the playoffs. But onto a team that I think definitely will. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask you. Now, here's the real question: if the Bengals miss the playoffs, is that bye Zach Taylor?
Yeah, I would think he's got to. If they miss the playoffs again, he would have to go. They already replaced the defensive coordinator.
Or if they lose in the first round.
No, I think if they make the playoffs, he could be safe. Cincinnati's owner is very cheap. So they typically don't like to fire coaches. Like Marv Lewis stayed like 5 years longer.
Ever.
Yeah. So I would think if they make the playoffs, he'll be safe. But if they waste 2 years of Burrow and Chase, then you kind of got to let him go. They already let go of the defensive coordinator. So I would think Zach Taylor's next. But I feel like Cincinnati will make it. I'm pretty confident in that. And every year there's a few teams that didn't make it the year before. I think Cincinnati's like the most obvious one in the AFC. But onto Cleveland. I mean, there's not too much to say about them. Cleveland is kind of a joke right now. They brought 4 quarterbacks into the summer. Like they drafted 2 with their the 5th round one being a high profile, high attention, like media attention guy. They still have Deshaun Watson there. It's kind of a circus. And I think they tried to stabilize things by letting Flacco start, which I think for competitive football early on, it's probably the right call. Like Flacco is a steady presence, not spectacular, but he is steady. They have Myles Garrett, but I mean, other than Myles Garrett, they don't have much. They have 3 running backs, 4 quarterbacks. Like it's just a real big mess there. Stefanski's another coach I think ultimately probably doesn't make it past this year. And I have Cleveland again at the bottom of the standings. I think they'll probably turn to Gabriel and Shedeur, and they won't be very good. I have Cleveland going 3-14 and one of the worst teams in the league.
So I have them at 4-12. They will be
4-13. You mean?
They will be picking in the bottom, 100%.
Yeah.
Or not the bottom, the top of the draft. I think. Listen. The first mistake they made was drafting Dylan Gabriel. I don't think that Dylan Gabriel was that much more impressive than Shedeur Sanders. And then they just drafted Shedeur Sanders just to be like, fuck it, whatever. Let's just see what happens. And there's just no vision for the team. There's just like the G, like I don't know what they're trying to do. Like say what you want about the Baker Browns, but at least they had a vision. You know what I mean? Like they had like, okay, this is who we are. This is what we're trying to do. I legitimately have no idea what Cleveland is trying to do right now. If someone said to me like, "Hey, like, what's the strategy?" I'm like, I don't know. They just haven't really shown me anything. And this is what happens. This is what separates, I think, the good teams from the bad teams. For the Patriots from the Jets, or you know, the Ravens from the Browns. It's what is your identity? If you don't have an identity, you will never win football games. That's just what it is. If you're like, listen, our identity is to be a run first team with a crazy tough defense. Okay, it's an identity. It might not work, but it's an identity. But you're just like when you start throwing things at the wall and being like, let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. It's like after a while, it can only get you so far, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And another team I'm honestly very low on is Pittsburgh this year. I know all the lore about Pittsburgh. I know Tomlin always has a winning record. I don't understand what they're doing right now. They are going for a stopgap quarterback for 2 years in a row. I don't think Rodgers has much left in the tank. I kind of touched on it a bit with Miami. There are some quarterbacks that just don't want to get hit, and Rodgers is one of those. We saw last year with the Jets, like a lot of short passes behind the line of scrimmage, throwing the ball at the dirt. We saw it with Brady the last year of his career too. You get to a certain point, these veteran quarterbacks, where they just don't want to be hit anymore. They can't move the same way. Rodgers coming off the Achilles, he's not going to regain that magic that he had earlier in his career. And even though Pittsburgh does somehow always win 9 games, I think this is going to be the year that they don't. And knowing Rodgers, he will blame everyone except for him, even though Pittsburgh the last 20 years has won 9 games. I think Pittsburgh is going to be disappointing. I could see some turmoil there. I don't know how Mike Tomlin is going to love Rodgers going on the McAfee show and talking shit about everyone. I have Pittsburgh going 7-10. I think they are going to be a competitive enough team, try to really grind out some games, but I am not in on the Aaron Rodgers led Pittsburgh Steelers.
I have them going 9-8. I do. You're talking to someone who, as a Jets fan, I watched Aaron Rodgers pretty much like a hawk last year. I felt like the start of the season was rough, but he got better at the end of the season. Like a lot of people sleep on his stats. He did not have a bad statistical season. The Jets were just a nightmare. And once again, the Jets were the definition of let's just throw things at the wall and see what happens. Let's just trade for Devontae Adams and just see what happens. Yeah. There was no vision for the team. I think that the Jets, for me, are not the Jets. Sorry, I'm talking about the Jets. The Steelers, the question that everybody has in mind is, okay, when's enough enough? So if you are ownership and you have another 9-win plus season, and let's just say you squeak into the wild card, but you don't do anything. You just get kicked out. You get pretty much knocked out in the first, round. At that point, by keeping Tomlin, what are you doing? You know what I mean? I understand the identity. We talked about identity. Identity is super important. I think Tomlin brings a great identity to that team. And the Pittsburgh Steelers historically have not had many coaches. I think they've had 4 or 5. You know what I mean? And that's an impressive feat because that's a lot of success. You have Noel, you have Bill Cowher, and then you have Mike Tomlin. And I know there's someone in between Chuck Noll and Bill Cowher, and I get that, and I apologize to the Steelers Nation. But, what I'm saying is that, that's consistency. There's no denying the consistency. But another coach who, in my opinion, his seat is getting hot. And, I feel bad because I also think that a lot of football, a lot of people look at the coach, but you also have to look at the GM too. And bringing in Rodgers, what other choice did they have? To me, this wasn't a great quarterback draft. And Tomlin is not really a great offensive mind. You know what I mean? He's a defensive guy who's a bit sturdy. But one thing about Tomlin that I will say, and I know you said the thing about Aaron Rodgers in the McAfee show, no one knew how bad Antonio Brown was in Pittsburgh until he left Pittsburgh. So that's got to account for something. I'm not saying that he's going to keep Aaron Rodgers on like a leash or anything, but I'm just saying you would be surprised. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, I don't think Tomlin would ever get fired, but my, I guess, slightly bold prediction is after Pittsburgh has like their worst year in a while, I think Tomlin will elect to leave on his own. Maybe a mutual decision type of thing. I wouldn't be shocked if this was his last year. I just don't think they would fire him outright. I don't think that's in the Steelers' DNA. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, people are going to talk about the Steelers a lot, and that is the Rodgers effect. So it'll be interesting. I mean, you're probably right. They win 9 games every year, so they'll probably do it again. For me, it's just like when you say that, what other options did they have? I mean, for me, it's like it's better to rebuild than win 9 games and get killed in the first round. And
I agree with you. I will say though, I said like there were no great quarterbacks. I actually do like that they bought in Will Howard from Ohio State. I think he's a big traditional pocket passing quarterback. I like him. I think that, listen, he was someone who's been coached up. He won the national championship last year. I saw some good grit to him. I liked him on Gruden. Obviously, I watched Gruden's QB camp. I liked a lot of his answers. I liked what he was able to do. He seems like a good guy and a good kid. But rookie quarterbacks, and just because you were good in college means nothing in the NFL level, really, for the most part these days. So it's a nice show, but you know how it goes.
yeah.
But now we're going to the most fun division in football. This is the We Love Football division because I cannot think of a more boring division. That's just so bad. This is a brutal division. I'm sorry. Like I know people are gonna hate me for saying that, but they are brutal to look at.
Here's another bold call. I think this division will be much better than people think this year.
Okay.
And I know that's a bold call because, like, you look at the teams and you're like, oh, these teams absolutely fucking suck.
Terrible.
I think the division
Texans
will
aren't
be
bad.
a little better. Yeah, Houston, like, is really, like, solid. Their defense is incredible. I think Stroud will be more like the rookie Stroud than sophomore Stroud. I do like some of their weapons. I mean, losing Joe Mixon really hurts because I don't know how much Nick Chubb has left in the tank, but I do like some of their rookie additions. Someone that for fantasy lovers, check your waiver wires. There's 2 guys, Jaden Higgins, probably going to start as their 3rd receiver. He's a rookie. I think he'll emerge as the number 2 as the season goes on. And then a flyer on a running back, Woody Marks. He was drafted in the 4th round, maybe, but he's going to take on their role as pass catching back. And again, I don't know how much Nick Chubb has left. This is fantasy. We're not talking too much about fantasy. Houston, I think they win the division again. Not spectacularly, but I'm going to say they go 10-7, which is enough to win the division. And when I say I think this division will be better than people think, I am saying that as in people think this division will be absolute dog shit. And I think the other 3 teams will be a little bit more competitive than they were last year. But what do you think about Houston?
Yeah, I have to hit you right on the head there and agree with you and say 10-7 for Houston. I think that when your division is so bad and you're the only consistent team, you have a consistent quarterback, at least they have an identity. The other 3 teams I have we'll get to them in a second, but once again, identity wins football games and wins football divisions and wins football seasons. So
Yeah.
I think that the Texans will go 10-7. I like CJ. I like Nico. I think their defense is kind of mediocre, but I think once again, when you're looking at this division as a whole, I believe that they'll be kind of, as good as they can be. I just don't think they're better than any other team in any of the winning division teams in the AFC. I don't think they're going to be that much better, but I've been wrong before, which leads me to kind of the Colts. Uh, the Colts are interesting. AR-15 didn't work out by the and that sucks because obviously he has a strong arm. I thought he was a raw prospect coming out of college, and once again, it's just a classic quarterback carousel. I think with the right coaching and the right system, he could be good. Obviously, injuries played a big factor in his rookie season as well and in his career. I just think he needs a fresh start. I just think he needs to go somewhere else aside from Indianapolis. I don't think Daniel Jones is the guy. I've never thought that Daniel Jones was the guy. However, once again, talking about rookies, one of my favorite pickups that the Colts had was Riley Leonard from Notre Dame. I think this guy's a gamer. I really do. I think Riley Leonard, if you build the right system around him, could be something. Not saying he's going to be great, but he could be something. He's a rookie though. I like the addition of T.J. Warren. I think that that's going to be a huge, massive upside thing for them. Hopefully, he's not the next Kyle Pitts. We'll see. But I would say best case scenario for the Colts, probably 7-10. Best case
7 and
scenario.
10. Okay. Yeah, for me, the Colts are honestly like pretty solid, I would say. Like overall roster. Obviously I don't think Daniel Jones is anything, but for me, it's like, can Daniel Jones be Gardner Minshew when Minshew was able to win them some games a few years back? That I think is realistic. Can he be Joe Flacco on Cleveland when he won them enough games to sneak into the playoffs? I think probably not. I don't know if they have that much talent. I mean, I like Warren a lot. I like Josh Downs. I like Jonathan Taylor. I think their defense is solid. I have them a little bit higher than you. I have them 8 and 9 and kind of like in somewhat contention in December and January, but not a realistic threat. A team that I have a little bit higher, which is next up, is Jacksonville. I think Liam Cohen.
You're getting fooled, my friend. Okay, let's hear this.
Liam Cohen was able to revitalize Baker Mayfield in a way. Baker had a cup of coffee in on the Rams. He probably learned a thing or two from McVay, but he was really able to take Baker to a new level or help do that. I think Jacksonville has some pretty solid weapons. I mean, we'll see how they use Travis Hunter. Honestly, I was not a big fan of the Travis Hunter trade. I think that's the type of trade you make when you're a contender. But I do think that they'll be able to get Trevor Lawrence to take a step forward. He has a ton of potential. He's a mobile, big quarterback that can throw the ball, but he just hasn't clicked yet. He's had some horrendous coaching. So I'm not going to blame everything on him. I think this is his like put up or shut up year. I also don't mind their defense. I think in a weaker division, they can win 9 games, and I have them going 9-8 and contending for a wild card spot.
Okay, interesting. I do not have that faith in this team. This is, once again, we're talking about the Jets, the Browns, the Jags. They fit in that echelon of snake bit franchises that's just like, if you're a fan, you really love this team because of the misery that they cause you. Now, I am a believer, and this is just me. There are 3 schools that you should always be weary of when it comes to quarterbacks. Number 1 is USC. Number 2 is Alabama. And number 3 is Clemson. Those are your 3 teams. But if you have a quarterback coming out of there, they're either going to be exceptional or they're going to be the biggest bust waste of time ever. There's no in between. You don't get mediocre quarterbacks. You don't get long term. It's just the way it is. Now, in my humble opinion, I think this team, best case scenario, goes 6-11. Best case scenario. Because to me, I don't think that they've done enough to build this team into what they need it to be. I think Trevor Lawrence might improve, but I think that the problem with Trevor Lawrence is he's very much a system type quarterback. much like Deshaun Watson was. And at the end of the day, I just look at someone like a Trevor Lawrence. He could have a revitalized season, but I just don't think they have enough weapons. You know, they have Brian Thomas and they have Travis Hunter. We'll see how Travis Hunter plays out. And Travis Etienne still hasn't really shown me enough to be like, oh yeah, this is the guy. But their defense is still solid, but it's not great. And anytime there's a first year head coach, there's this learning curve, you know?
Yeah.
And so I have to see how he picks up that system.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's one of my surprise teams of the year. How do you feel about Tennessee with Cam Ward?
Yeah, Tennessee's going to be a bottom team. I mean, there's no doubt, like, there's just no denying it. I say they'll probably be in the top 5 picks once again. Um, I think that Cam Ward is, he's exciting. I think he has a good head on his shoulders. He seems like a quarterback's quarterback, right? Loves the game, seems to be a little more to himself, likes to, I don't think he's like a rowdy kind of guy. He kind of leads by example, kind of like a Jalen Hurts personality type. But what I will say is that guy can sling it. He can throw really well. He can make all the passes. I think that once again, this is a rebuilding team. And so anytime you have a rebuilding team, it's just what's going to happen. I say 4-13 best case scenario. I think they'll have one more win maybe, or what 4-13 is like where I would cap it. I don't see this team being the team. What about you?
Um, yeah, I'm not super high on them win in terms of the win column. I do agree. I think they'll be at the bottom of the pack again. I think they'll definitely be more watchable, which is a good first step.
Yeah, fun bat. Fun bat
I
teams are fun to watch.
Yeah, I think Cam Ward is going to be a solid pro. I don't know if he'll ever be a top 5 to 7 quarterback, but I could see him being like a 12th quarterback for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I think he'll have a good career. I think I agree with you. I'll say 4-13 as well. Last place in the division. But yeah, definitely more watchable, which is nice. I actually do quite like Calvin Ridley this year. I think him having some more consistent quarterback play will be good for him, but not super high on them. But I mean, moving from one of the worst divisions to arguably the best division in football, or one of. I'll start it off with Denver. I think Denver had a pretty solid year last year. Their defense is one of the best in the league. Bo Nix really surpassed expectations. If he can take a step forward, I think that is a team that is going to be a force to be reckoned with. They improved their offensive weapons around him with Evan Ingram. They drafted RJ Harvey, brought in J.K. Dobbins. So I think on paper, they should be better, but we saw it with Houston last year. Houston took a bit of a step backwards in the regular season because people adjust to the rookie quarterbacks. There is that sophomore slump. I think there's a lot of hype coming out of Denver in the preseason. To me, this is going to be one of the teams, well, not a bad team. I think this is going to be one of the teams that does take a bit of a step backwards. And I don't think it'll be significant. I have them going 9-8. And again, another team contending for a wild card spot. But I do think they're not going to be as improved as people are making them seem, in my opinion.
Yeah. The Denver Saints, as I call them, because they're just literally the Saints 2.0. When obviously Sean was there, but I'd probably say I would disagree with you. I think they're going to be a 10-7 team personally. So one more win above kind of what you predicted. Now I think that Bo Nix, obviously he was a very surprising quarterback last year. I think that their offense only got better and their defense has just stayed elite. I think PS2, for those who don't know my analogy, that's Pat Surtain, who is number 2 for the Broncos. He's the quarterback. He's just on a trajectory right now that's kind of like Revis Island-esque. So we'll have to see. And obviously, playing in Denver is never easy with the altitude. I just think that I don't see them being like a wild card team. I see them being a playoff team. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a regression as well. I just think that when the offense gets better and you already have an elite defense, it's hard to kind of look back and say, okay, this is what's going to happen. They're not going to kind of make it. I would be shocked personally if they fall apart this year, but I just think they have this momentum coming in from last year, and they only got better. So I'm going 10-7.
Okay. Well, let's go back to the good old Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they are bringing back most of their team. They're bringing back Taylor Swift. Their coach, somehow their coordinators don't get taken. So it's pretty remarkable how they've been able to keep their team almost entirely intact. We know now Rashee Rice will be out for 6 games, which honestly, they missed him for 15 games last year.
Yeah, it's
barely skipped a beat. So, I mean, adding Rashee Rice in week 7 is going to be pretty huge. I think Kansas City will just be awesome again, honestly. I think they're probably going to come out with a vengeance after losing handily in the Super Bowl. I think Kansas City, another great year. Maybe they don't win 15 games again, but I have them right on par with Baltimore and Buffalo in the regular season. I'll put them at 13-4 as well, right on par with Baltimore.
I'm gonna go 12-5 for them.
12-5.
It's funny. I have Kelsey on my fantasy team, and I know he's a bit older now, and obviously he's looking to maybe do other things in life. But I think he's hungry. He signed a 1-year deal. I think that he's gonna have a good season. I think that Mahomes is still Mahomes. Andy Reid is still Andy Reid. And so long as that team is run that way, I don't see them losing that division for the time being. They are the boogeyman of the AFC. They are the modern day New England Patriots. Strong coaching, great quarterback, and a lot of it's just plug and play. I'm expecting very, very, very big things from Xavier Worthy this year. I think he's going to have a season. Year 2, knows how the NFL needs to run now, knows what he needs. Speedy, shifty, fast guy. And I just think that, as I said, not much has changed for that team, and they went to the Super Bowl. They got their ass whooped in the Super Bowl, but they still went. So let's see what happens. I'm intrigued. I'm going to go with 12-5 for them.
Yeah. How about what do you think about the Chargers this year?
The Chargers. Well, this is going to be surprising. I actually think the Chargers are going to win the division this year.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that the Chargers are going to be, and this is an early prediction because we can talk about the AFC now. I think it's going to be Bengals Chargers. I think the Bengals and the Chargers are going to be in the AFC Championship this year. That's just my opinion. And who wins, we'll kind of cross that when we're done this. But I just think that Harbaugh, being obviously a Michigan fan, has his team in the right direction. I think Herbert has the potential to ascend this year. I think that Ladd McConkey's unreal. I like that they brought back Keenan Allen. They have Najee Harris, who's out right now, but he will come back. Their defense is looking pretty good. I just think that they're going to be coached the right way, and they're just going to be that team this year. That's just my opinion. Could be way off. What do you think?
So do you think they're going to win more than 12 games, or you think they go 12-5 as well?
I will go 13-4.
13-4 for the Chargers. I can't say I'm that high on the Chargers. I do think they'll still be really solid. I think any team coached by Harbaugh is just going to be good. He is just that coach. He'll have the discipline he'll have the players disciplined. He will not make a lot of mistakes. I think Herbert is certainly capable. Their weaponry should be a little bit better. Hopefully Keenan still has a little bit left in the tank. I mean, Omarion Hampton, I think, will be really good. Losing Rashawn Slater definitely hurts, but slide Joe Eltz to left tackle. They honestly could have a bit of an upgrade at left tackle, which is crazy to say, but obviously a significant downgrade at right tackle. I think they're going to be really good. I think I will go 11-6.
Okay.
I don't have them being ahead of Kansas City, but definitely playoff contender. I think it's a team you don't want to play in the playoffs too. And then honestly, the Raiders, I think, could be a sneaky good team. I think that is going to be a team that, well, they won't contend for the playoffs. Or honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they did, but I think that's going to be a team you don't want to play. I think Geno is not the greatest quarterback by any means, but he offers some stability. I think Genty will be really good. I think their defense will be okay. If they can take a bit of a step forward, I could see them flirting with being above 500. But I think the Raiders will be Brock Bowers is awesome. I think they'll be a competitive 7-10. So this division, I think, is going to be really good.
Yeah, I think that 7-10 is super reasonable for the Raiders as well. And I'm being generous. And I know you said that Geno is like, he's there's all these things, but I think the biggest thing with Geno is that he knows that system in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen what Pete Carroll can do with him. I just think that Geno will be the guy. Now, that being said, who's your AFC championship game?
Okay, so I guess we have the Bills, Ravens, Texans, Chiefs as division leaders. Then I have the Chargers, Bengals, and I actually have Jacksonville as the other wild card, surprisingly. So I'm going to have Denver missing the playoffs. I am going to say the AFC title game will be the Baltimore Ravens hosting the game. And you know what? I'm gonna say Ravens versus the Bills. I'm gonna say Chiefs don't make it. Neither of us have the Chiefs, which is pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna say this is the year that Buffalo beats Kansas City in the divisional round, and
or the Ravens.
Well, I think the Ravens will be the 1 seed, so I think it would be Buffalo. But yeah, I'm gonna go Ravens versus Bills.
Okay.
And I know we're at about an hour now. We'll go through the NFC a little bit quicker. But no offense to the NFC, but we'll start with the East. I'll start off with the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. They're a laughing stock right now. I mean,
they're the biggest joke in football.
Yeah, they won't be the worst team in football, but they are arguably the biggest joke in football. That trade was just horrendous. The timing of the trade was the worst part about it. They traded arguably the best defensive player in the league after the draft and 2 weeks before the season for future draft picks where those picks could be pick 30. If they traded him at the end of the year, they could have got much better draft picks. They could have optimized the trade and had Parsons for another year. It's horrible. They're going to be forced to win games through their offense, similar to Cincinnati, but they're just simply not as good as Cincinnati. So I have Dallas going 6-11, and we're going to be forced to watch them on prime time about 8 times throughout the year, which is going to be horrible.
I mean, I have to disagree with you. I don't think they'll be that bad, but I think they'll be like a 9-8 team. I like the addition of George Pickens. I thought that was a good thing for Dak, to have 2, wide receivers. They still have CeeDee. Their defense is not great, and I also think that Schott is not the best coach for that job. But we'll have to see. I think that's the case. I think the Giants are the real laughingstock of the NFC East, as I say, because I don't know what the hell they're doing. Dable's just once again throwing things at the wall and hoping for the best. I mean, best case scenario for the Giants, I see them being like a 5-12 team. What do you think?
You're gonna kill me for this one. The Giants are my sleeper team of the year.
Okay.
I think
is it because they have a really good D-line?
Their D-line, I think, is just absolutely nasty. I am a little bit lower, obviously, on Dallas. I'm also, quick spoiler alert, a little bit lower on Washington this year.
Wow.
And
okay.
I actually think Daboll is a good coach. I think he's had horrible quarterback play. I think even just someone steady like Russell Wilson can help Dayball do what he wants to do. And worst case scenario, put in Jackson Dart. I am a believer in Jackson Dart as well. I like the Giants. I actually think the Giants are going to be a massive, massive surprise. And you might laugh at this. I have them going 10-7 and making the playoffs.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
really bold. I mean, like, listen, it's your opinion. I disagree with it, but I get where you're coming from. I think that anytime you put Jameis on a team, it just gets people excited, and I guess that's what you're going through right now is just Jameis delirium. Hopefully they taste some W's. Hopefully,
Uh,
I would say, in terms of the two teams that I'm really kind of gearing towards here, you said that Washington was going to take a step back. I think it's the Eagles that take a step back. So I think that the Commanders go 12-5.
okay. So
And
talk about the Commanders first. We'll skip
Sure.
the Eagles for now.
Sure. I just think they've gotten better offensively. I like Jaden Daniels. I like Dan Quinn. I think the addition of Debo was an interesting addition, but I thought it was a solid one nonetheless. I think they're just a scrappy team, and they're coming off of, hey, we're good enough to get here. There's no more surprises now. The door is open, and teams know that Washington is a threat. They know that Jaden is the real deal. He has the stuff. He's a clutch quarterback, and he's not afraid of the big moment. And I just think that when you have a quarterback like that and a team that's rallying behind a player like that, they get very scary. Whereas the Eagles, I think they've lost pieces on their defense that are super key and important. I know they have Saquon. I know they have Jalen. I get that. And I know they have Antonio Brown. And, um, they have, Devontae Smith and whatever. And obviously Cooper DeJean, the GOAT. But I think that at the end of the day, for me, in the way that I look at it, it's just like, I think they'll regress to, like an 11-16. Not that much better, but I just think that they're going to regress this year. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite. So like I mentioned, I'm not as high on Washington. I think the issue with Washington is they did add pieces, but they added older pieces, which I don't always love for like I get like a team with a young quarterback, like you want to get veterans around them. Washington is actually the oldest team in the league this year by average age, which I don't love. I'm not a big Debo fan. I think he's just the type of player where the body breaks down when you play that type of football. It's tough to like get back to what he once was. So I'm not a huge Debo fan. I don't know how much Von Miller has left. I think, yes, they added pieces, but they don't have the running game to complement Jaden Daniels. And the problem is when you don't have the running game, in my opinion, and you have an electric rookie quarterback, teams have 17 games, or in this case, 19 games of game tape on Jaden Daniels. So they're going to throw new things at him. And as good as he is, there is going to be a readjustment. So I don't have any concerns about Jaden Daniels performing in his career or even this year for that matter. But I have Washington going down to 8-9. So I have them 4 games lower than you. Sorry, what did you say for the Eagles?
The Eagles, I said 11-6.
11-6. So you obviously still have them making the playoffs.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I just think the Eagles are really fucking good. Like their defensive line is incredible. I think Jalen Carter is one of the best defensive players in the league, and I think he'll take a step forward this year. The guy's an absolute animal. Like he plays like 98% of the snaps.
Yeah,
he's
he's
300 pounds.
He's literally insane. The fact that he fell to them in the draft is just like a sickness.
Yeah. I mean, Barkley obviously won't be as great as he was last year. It's just not possible. But I think Philly is going to be willing to throw more this year. Jalen Hurts had the lowest attempts of any starting quarterback in the league last year, attempts per game, which is crazy to think. Like he won Super Bowl MVP and he was the least attempts per game quarterback in the league. I think they'll let him throw more. I think they have the weapons. I think Philly will be one of the best teams in the league. I have them going, I'll put them same as Baltimore and Kansas City at 13-4 win the division for me. All right, moving forward to another really good division, and probably along with the AFC West, this is the best division in football. Starting off with Chicago. Chicago was the worst team in their division last year. They added Ben Johnson, who is going to definitely help Caleb Williams. I don't know if it will help enough to get them into a playoff spot, but I definitely think Chicago will be more entertaining to watch, less grinded out games. And I think he'll really help them. Their O-line is much improved too. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they push for a playoff spot. I'll have them going 9-8 and right up there for a wild card spot.
Got it. I have them 7-10. I don't think they're going to be. I think they're going to take the steps ahead, but they're still a couple years away from being that team. I think that Ben Johnson is interesting. Once again, anytime as a first-year head coach, I'm always a little bit nervous.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see kind of what they implement, what they put in. I think that Chicago is starving for relevancy. Because in history they have been a relevant team, but obviously the last 2 decades it's been a little bit tough, minus the 2008 season. So fingers crossed for them in that sense, because Chicago is a great city, but I just don't see. I don't see them going that ahead. I see them making improvements, but they're still going to be in the top 10 picks in the draft. In my opinion, they'll probably be like at the 10 spot, 9 or 10. But
okay,
that's
how
where
about Detroit?
Detroit. They're going to regress this year. I'm not going to lie. They lost their 2 coordinators, and I just think that as a team, yes, Dan Campbell is the guy. I see them going 9-8.
Really?
I think they're going to
Wow.
regress. Yeah, I think they're going to regress big. I
Okay.
think that they're great team. Don't get me wrong. Love what they can do. They do a lot of great things, and I love the culture of that team. I think Jameer Gibbs and Montgomery, they're going to just be nasty as per usual. I think Goff is going to be Goff. He's going to ball out on that team, and Amon St. Brown is to me one of the most reliable wide receivers if you look at football last year and even this year especially. But I just think that once again, when you lose 2 coordinators, you lose that system. I don't look at a lot of teams like the Patriots where it's like a plug and play. Like, that's a rarity. When you lose 2 big coordinators like that who are very big personalities battling it out, I think they're going to maybe make the wild card. But I see them regressing. What about you?
Yeah, it's really tricky because they realistically will not win 15 games again. So they're going to regress. They lost 2 coordinators, like you said, which is going to hurt. That said, they also are gaining about 8 defensive starters that were injured last year. They had a horrible injury luck, especially on defense, and they still won 15 games. So I have to believe their defense naturally will be a little bit better. I mean, they're getting Hutchinson back, which is going to help immensely.
Huge. Yeah.
So I definitely don't think they'll be 15-2. Again, I think Chicago will be better. I think Green Bay is going to be really good. Minnesota should be good. So I think they'll be a really good team. I have them, regressing definitely significantly still. I'll have them going 11-6.
Okay.
And then Green Bay, I just kind of touched on a little bit. They got Parsons, which is absolutely insane. Their defense will be a lot better. Jordan Love needs to stay healthy. They got Matthew Golden in the draft, which I think will be really helpful as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're a really well-rounded team. They don't really have any significant weaknesses. So I actually am going to have Green Bay taking a step forward, and I'll have Green Bay going 12-5 and likely winning the division, but we'll get to Minnesota after. But where are you on Green Bay?
Yeah, they'll win that division, without a doubt, in my opinion. They took a huge step forward. Obviously, they got Micah Parsons. It's not like their offense took any hits. They have the same team pretty much in place that's been relevant for the last couple of years. I see them going. I'd probably have to agree with you on the same record. I see them winning the division, and hear me out, they will be playing in the NFC Championship game.
All right. So, spoiler alert for your NFC pick. Where do you have? How many games do you have Green Bay winning?
I would go 12-5.
12-5 as well. So
Mm.
we're aligned there. And where are you on the JJ McCarthy led Vikings?
The Vikings to me are going to be 8-9.
8-8.
I think that JJ McCarthy, as I know, I'm a fan of Michigan. I'm a newer fan of Michigan, so I didn't even get to really enjoy the national championship time. But JJ McCarthy was super solid. I love what they have in terms of a team. I think they're a fun team. I just think, like any rookie quarterback, because he is a rookie, he has not really played any snaps, you're going to see the goods and the bads. That's just how it is. He doesn't really have that experience. Now he could be a Mahomes like guy. And listen, I'm not saying that what's his face? The coach. Why am I drawing a blank on his name right now? Oh gosh.
Kevin O'Connell?
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell. Sorry. I was mixing him up with the Browns coach. But Kevin O'Connell, I think he can make magic happen. I mean, look what he did with Darnold. But at the same time, even though they have Justin Jefferson, even though they have all these pieces, I just think the other two teams are just so much better than them. And when you have a rookie quarterback who hasn't seen that kind of fire, like those two defenses are going to rip him. And the Bears defense is insane too. People sleep on how good the Bears defense is. It is a very good defense. I think that for a rookie, he's going to have some great moments and he's going to have some shit moments. And that's why I'm going with them at 8-9.
Okay. I'm definitely higher on them. I think, to your point, if O'Connell can do that with Darnold, all JJ McCarthy has to do is be as good as Darnold, and they are going to have a winning record in my mind. And again, they won 14 games last year. I don't see that happening, but it looks like you're a little bit lower on this division overall than I am. I guess in part because they're going to have to beat each other up. But I have Minnesota going 10-7. I think there will be some growing pains, but I think O'Connell will make magic happen. I really like their weapons. I have every team in this division winning over 9 games, which is crazy and probably unlikely, but we'll see how that goes. We'll move on to the NFC South. I'll start off with Atlanta. I think Atlanta will be a pretty solid team this year. I think they definitely have really strong weapons. Bijan, Drake London. I think Darnell Mooney is solid. We'll see if Pitts can do anything.
No, don't bring up that guy. That guy
probably not. But,
he's ruined so many people's fantasy hopes and dreams for so many years now.
Yeah, they added 2 defensive linemen in the first round. They traded up for one. So hopefully their defense will be a little bit better. I think they will contend for this division, which is a pretty bad division.
The South divisions are pretty brutal for both.
Yeah, both Souths are not too hot. I have them going 9-8. I think they'll be up there for the division, and we'll see if I have them winning it. But where are you on Atlanta?
I think Atlanta will go as far as Penix goes. I have them at 8-9.
Okay.
I don't think they'll be 9-8, to be honest with you. I think that when I look at this team, there are a lot of good things. Let's not even talk about Kyle Pitts because, as I said, he's just he's the fantasy killer, that guy. But I think Bijan, I actually have Bijan on my team. I took him with my first pick. I had the second pick. I think he's going to be Bijan. In terms of their defense, I'm a little concerned because I don't think they have any like killers on that defense. But it's early, and we'll have to see. I've been told Atlanta, by the way, I have a friend who went to Atlanta and saw Falcons. And apparently, it's a great city. And, well, I mean, I know it's a great city, but apparently their football, like their stadium and everything is awesome. One of the places I definitely want to check out one day. Unfortunately, I do think you're going to be an 8-9 team at best, though.
Okay.
Which leads
Carolina.
me kind of. So this is the upset. You ready? I think Carolina's going to win the division.
Okay.
So I think Carolina is going to win the division. I think they are going to be 10-7.
10-7.
Yeah.
Which honestly could be enough to win that division.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's going to be a huge thing because I think that well, we'll get to it because we'll talk about it after. But I think that Carolina is going to be a very interesting team this year. I love what they do. I think Bryce Young has the potential to finally get over that hump in year 3. I know it's a bold, bold, bold statement, but that's just my opinion. And I think that I like Dave as a coach. I think he's the right guy for that job. I mean, Chuba, nasty. I like Tet. I thought Tet was a great draft pick. And their defense, their defense, like a lot of people don't realize how good their defense is. Like it's a really good defense. So I just think that it's going to be a sloppy division and they'll be a sloppy team, but I think they'll squeak into the playoffs. Or not
Okay.
squeak, they will win the division, so they won't squeak. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Carolina is solid. To me, Bryce Young, I think, and I hate to say this, I think he's capped at being like a slightly better version of Tua.
Okay.
I think he's small for one, which
Mhm.
is tough for a quarterback. Um, I don't think he's the kind of guy that is able and willing to get hit a lot as well. So I don't mind Carolina. I think they have some really good pieces. I can't say I'm as high as you. I have them. I don't remember what their record was last year, but I have them going 7-10. I think they'll be competitive. It is a bad division, so it wouldn't shock me if they won an extra game or two and it was a little bit closer, but I'm not super high on them. But I will say I am much higher on them than I am on New Orleans, who I think will be the worst team in the league this year. I think their
Yeah.
quarterback play is going to be atrocious. They added their weapons are really weird. Like they have Kamara there, who just completely does not fit on that team, and I wouldn't be shocked if they traded him at the deadline. They, for some reason, added Brandon Cooks to Shaheed and Olave. It's like a lot of repetitive players. Taysom Hill, I think, is going to be out for the year. He tore his ACL real late last year. Their defense is not great. It's average at best, I would say. I think New Orleans will be the worst team in the league. I think they'll be picking first, getting a new quarterback. I have New Orleans going 1-16.
Wow, that is bad. I
Yeah.
have them going 3-14.
Okay.
I think they'll win 3 games. They will be terrible. They are not a good team. A lot of people are like, "Well, let's just see it." I'm like, "Nope, I can see it. The writing on the wall. They are not a good team. Let's stop pretending. This is what it is. They are not a good team. Okay, let's just stop it." I like their coach. I think their coach has potential. But everything else is just weird. I don't know what they're doing. But not my cup of tea per se. Sorry, New Orleans, you are going to be the worst team in football. I actually agree with you that they will have the first overall pick, and if things go the way it goes, Archie Manning, you will be playing for the team that your grandfather played for.
Well,
So,
that would be cool. And
yeah, grandfather. Yeah, what am I
the
saying?
fact of the matter is, I don't think New Orleans wants to win games this year, because if they did, they would have they could easily trade for Jameis Winston. He's been on New Orleans before. He's the third stringer on the Giants. They would obviously be willing to trade him for a 5th-round pick or whatever.
Oh yeah,
So the fact that they haven't added a legitimate quarterback to the rotation just tells me that they're viewing this as a complete rebuild. And again, that's why I think Kamara at the deadline, if you can get a 3rd or 4th round pick for him, maybe you trade a Cam Jordan, like you get rid of these vets, like that would not shock me at all. You seem to be a little lower on Tampa. You alluded to. I personally do think Tampa will still win the division. I am a little worried. They have a lot of injuries to start the year, which isn't great. I think Bucky Irving is going to really take another step forward this year. I think their defense is solid. I like what I'm seeing from Baker. I don't think it's going to be convincing. I have Tampa at 10-7 winning the
okay.
division.
I have them at 9-8. I just think that their wide receiver core is just a little bit older now. Their defense has lost some pieces. I like Baker, but I think that with the offense that's going to kind of be called, I don't know if he's going to be as effective without Liam. I would say, in my opinion, there'll be a 9-8 team, a wild card team potentially, but I think that they'll just squeak into the playoffs. That's just me. Been
Okay.
wrong before about Baker. I love Baker. I think he's great. I wish the Jets got him the year he got drafted, but um, he has to still prove some stuff to me, like win the big games, right?
Yeah.
Which, speaking of win the big games, Arizona. Um, yeah, this one's gonna be weird because a lot of people are high on the Cardinals this upcoming year. A lot of people think they're going to be a team this year, like a pretty solid team. I think they'll be okay. I don't think they'll be better than two teams in the division. That's just my opinion. I think they'll be a 9-8 team.
Okay, that's honestly pretty good for Arizona. Yeah, I worry about them because their division is pretty solid. I think Kyler is an okay quarterback. He hasn't run as much since he tore his ACL a couple of years ago, which I don't love because it does eliminate a big part of what makes him a scary person to play. I'm a little bit lower. I think they'll be competitive. I do like a lot of their weapons. I don't love their defense, and I'm not the biggest Kyler fan, as you can probably tell. I have them going 8-9, so not too far from you. Rams are interesting. They have arguably the best coach in football, maybe behind Reed and Harbaugh, but he's up there for best, probably the best or second best offensive coach in football.
Oh yeah, easy.
Everything there hinges on Stafford's back holding up. It is scary. It's the situation. This could turn bad quick. So I don't love necessarily if Jimmy G is forced to start 8 games this year. I'm going to hope that Stafford stays healthy. And if he does, I think the Rams can honestly beat anyone in football. I will take the Rams. I mean, their defensive line is really young and aggressive. I like the Rams quite a bit. I mean, I think Adams still has something left in the tank too. This one's a really tough one. I'm going to have them going 11-6, but I think this could really turn sideways if Stafford has to miss significant time.
I have them at 10-7, so somewhat equal, somewhat similar. I think that it's just going to be literally riding on Stafford.
Yeah.
If Stafford's there, they'll win more than 10 games. If Stafford's not there, they will not win more than 10 games. And I know that's like so strange because it's like, well, they have Jimmy G, they have, other pieces in play. They can, sometimes they'll pick up a quarterback on the waiver like a Baker and they'll do some stuff. Listen, Sean McVay is Sean McVay. Guy's living the best life in football. All right, he gets to coach in LA with the most beautiful woman I've seen. But that being said, I think that their defense still has holes in it, man. Like, I don't trust their DBs. I think they have a good D line, but their linebacking core isn't that great. Like, I don't really look at their linebacking core and think like, wow, that's a team. They're missing like an Aaron Donald type of player there. And you can tell ever since he's left, they've felt that missing hole. We'll see if someone comes up. But this is where it also gets interesting because the other team that will be in the NFC Championship game, the San Francisco 49ers, they will be 13-4.
Okay.
Mark my words, they will be the team to really, really, really surprise everyone. I think that if McCaffrey's healthy, oh boy, watch out, NFL. They are just going to be firing on all cylinders. I think their defense has improved. There was a lot of injuries on the team last year. Robert Saleh's back, and he's obviously has a lot of history with that team. He's a very good defensive coordinator. One of those people who's, once again, not a great coach, but a great coordinator. And I just think that they've kind of regrouped that team. McCaffrey will come in healthy, and they will be 13-4 and be in the obvious NFC Championship game.
All right, San Fran. It's so interesting because I saw this stat that for the last 30 years, every time San Fran has made the playoffs, they made the conference title game. So or 20 years, something crazy. Like the last many years, they either miss the playoffs or they make the conference title game. There's no in between. So if you think they're going to make the playoffs, it's a good bet to bet them to the NFC Championship game. And I am with you. I think San Fran is going to be really good. I think Purdy is going to prove his worth. He got a big contract. I think he's going to prove that he is a good quarterback. I think McCaffrey stays healthy. They're going to get Brandon Ayuk back. Their defense is always solid. I mean, they have two of the best front seven players in football, and Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. I have San Fran winning the division at maybe a little below you at 12-5, but I think that's also because I have the Rams a little bit higher. I think they'll split the series, but I like San Fran to win the division, and we'll see about the NFC Championship and Super Bowl. But lastly, Seattle. I think Seattle's interesting. I think Seattle has a decent roster. I don't love swapping DK Metcalf for Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp is a lot more similar to Smith-Njigba than obviously DK is. They don't really have an outside threat. I think Kenneth Walker needs to stay healthy. I think their defense is solid, but at the end of the day, it's going to be whether Sam Darnold can be better than Geno Smith. And I personally don't think he's going to be that much better. I think Seattle will be a little bit disappointing this year. I have Seattle going 7-10. Where are you on Seattle?
Yeah, I have them going 7-10. Listen, I'm from the school of Sam Darnold. We drafted him, and listen, I do think he's improved. I just think that systems make quarterbacks a lot of the time, unless you're like an outlier, like a Tom Brady or a prime Aaron Rodgers or a Peyton Manning. It's so hard to not be a system type quarterback, and I think that you're going to see a little bit of a regression from Sam because this offensive team really isn't that good. I mean, you don't have Justin Jefferson, you don't have Addison, you don't have AG, you don't have these kinds of players anymore. So it's going to be definitely interesting. I think 7-10 is totally reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they will be picking in the top 10, and they know this, but they're a team that's rebuilding but trying to stay consistent.
Yeah.
Now, naturally, I know that I said that it's going to be Niners and Green Bay in my NFC Championship game. Who do you have in your NFC Championship game?
So you have 49ers hosting the Packers. I have for my conference game. So I think this will be the year that San Francisco breaks that trend that I mentioned. I don't have San Francisco making the conference title game.
Okay.
I do have Green Bay, however. I think Green Bay is going to be in the conference championship against the LA Rams. And again, I know this could really backfire if Stafford has issues. I really like the Rams. I think this would be a great way for Stafford to go out too. So I have the Packers hosting the Rams. Unfortunately, I say it would be a great way for Stafford to go out. I think a team in LA winning in Green Bay is a lot to ask. So I have the Packers advancing to the Super Bowl against the Baltimore Ravens. And my winner of the Super Bowl will be the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
Where are you in terms of the winner of your conference games in the Super Bowl?
I have the Bengals versus the Packers, and I have the Bengals winning the Super Bowl.
Bengals. Their offense is going to carry them all the way to,
I believe so. Yeah.
a Super Bowl win. That would be quite the turnaround from last year, but I like it.
I know.
Question for you. You have Tampa, Arizona, Detroit, and Dallas all at 9 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
One of those teams only will make the playoffs as a wild card. Which of those teams do you have as the last wild card?
I think it's going to be Tampa. I think Tampa's going to make the wild card, in my opinion. Yeah, I just don't see it being the Cowboys. I don't, obviously foresee it being the Vikings.
So you have Detroit missing the playoffs.
Sorry, no, apologies. Please, sorry, forgive me. Apologies. Not Tampa. I have Detroit. You're right.
Detroit just gets the last spot.
Yeah, Detroit.
Okay.
I thought I had them at a high. I
Detroit's-
was reading the number there wrong for a second. Yeah, Detroit.
Okay, cool. So I'll just quickly go over our playoff teams. So I have in the AFC Buffalo, Baltimore, Houston, Kansas City as division winners, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, and the Chargers as the wild cards. You have Buffalo, Cincinnati, Houston, and the Chargers winning the division, with Baltimore, Denver, Kansas City as the wild cards.
Yeah.
For the NFC, I have Philly, Green Bay, Tampa, and San Fran winning the division, with the wild cards as the Giants, shockingly, the Lions, and the Rams. And then you have the Commanders, Packers, Panthers, Niners as division winners, with the Eagles, Lions, and Rams as the wild cards.
Yes. Yep.
That is
And-
interesting.
Yeah, and I don't want to keep the podcast too long. And I thank everyone for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this content. Who do you have winning the MVP?
My MVP this year is going to be. He's getting a lot of the bets online. I do think. Oh, you know what? I have a feeling you're going to take Burrow, so I'm going to actually stray away from Burrow. I'll let you have Burrow, so we can have something different here. I will go MVP. I'm going to say, I said it earlier, I think Philly's going to throw a lot more this year. I'm going to say Jalen Hurts wins MVP.
Wow. Yeah, you are right. I totally have Joey B. I think
Yeah.
Joey B is going to win the MVP.
I do think he will too. I just wanted something different than you.
Yeah, and then in terms of offensive player of the year, I'm going to go probably with Bijan.
Bijan.
Yeah, I think Bijan's going to have a breakout year and just be that guy.
I certainly hope so, because I do have him in fantasy as well.
Mm.
For me, offensive player of the year, give me let's see.
If healthy, it could go to C-Mac. I mean, C-Mac, if he's
Yeah.
healthy.
I was looking at C-Mac. Let me throw a wrench in things. I will say offensive player of the year. I think the Giants are going to be really good. How about Malik Neighbors?
Wow.
Big underdog there.
You are crazy. I am so surprised how much you love the Giants this year. It's just like insanity to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And defensive player of the year, I think I mentioned him earlier. I think Jalen Carter takes a step forward. And it is rare for a defensive tackle to win it. I'm going to take Jalen Carter, though.
I'm going with I'm going to go Hutch. Give me Aiden Hutchinson. I think that he's going to come back from his injury. Before he got injured, he was already on a warpath. I think he's going to come back hungrier than ever, especially after the way that last season went, and he's just coming with full throttle.
Yeah. And offensive rookie of the year?
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. Offensive rookie of the year, I'm going to probably it's going to be such a cop-out, but I'm going Genty. I think
Yeah,
Genty's going to
me
be
too.
offensive. Yeah, I just think like there's no one's going to have as much, like he's going to get the ball so much that like it would be impossible for him not to get it.
Yeah, and then, like I don't think Cam Ward's like the only quarterback that has a shot. Obviously, I don't think they're going to be good enough. Other options potentially. I mean, Trevion Henderson, Marion Hampton, but I don't know. I just think I agree. I think Genty's just going to have 1,500 yards total and 12 touchdowns that he'll get it.
Yeah.
Defensive rookie of the year. Again, I'm big on the Giants, so it's weird that I have the Giants winning 2 awards, but I do have Abdul Carter winning defensive rookie of the year.
You know what? This is going to make you sick, but I have Abdul Carter also winning defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
I just think he has like that kind of potential where he's just going to be that guy. But in terms of coach of the year, I have Dave Canales of Carolina. I think that Carolina, just the way that they're going to play, he's going to win coach of the year.
Yeah. I like that. I think that's definitely a good one. I mean, for me, like I can't take the Giants for 3 awards. I just can't do that.
Watch the Giants go like 1 and fucking.
Yeah, they'll end up being the worst team in football.
Yeah.
Who else is there? Let's you know what? Let's go with
Mike Tomlin.
No, I can't do Tomlin. All these other teams are just like the coaches are so established. You know what? I have Jacksonville making the playoffs. let's go with Liam Cohen winning
Wow,
it.
first year. Okay, interesting.
I feel like my picks are very bold, but
My picks are bold too. Listen, I think we both have some bold picks here.
yeah,
But yeah, this is what's so exciting about football. You never know what's going to happen, right? We can look back at this at the end of the year and be like, wow, we were just so wrong. And that's the best part about it, right? You never know what you're going to get with football. And I hope for those who are watching, like, give some insight. Like, let's hear what you think. I mean, are we just insane? We could very well be insane. And it's happened before. But yeah, make sure to comment and let us know what you think, because I'm intrigued.
yeah, I'm really excited. I'm gonna post this, I mean, right now, so give people time to watch this before Thursday nights, and I mean, you can always watch this after too. But if you made it this far, thank you. Looking forward to the season. We'll do a lot more football content. I also do a lot of reality TV stuff. Caleb and I hop on here, talk about movies, TV as well. So give the channel a subscribe, like the video. It really helps get our videos into people's feeds. We really appreciate that. And again, Caleb said it. Thank you for spending the time with us. This was a lot of fun. Super excited for football. Caleb, thank you for hopping on with me and giving me a couple hours on your Tuesday nights.
Tuesday night. Yeah.
But
of course.
we will look forward to chatting soon. And thank you all. Again, like, subscribe. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
100%, everybody. Thank you so
Bye.
much.